Though I would consider myself to be more than a fan of the original Dexter series, I can also admit that the end of that series was shit. But when Dexter New Blood was announced, I saw it as a limited series that presented a chance for the writers to right the wrongs of the original series. But again, I was let down by the ending, this time with a Batista Dexter tease for my trouble. Then we got Dexter Original Sin, which initially I thought it was a mistake. And at this point, after watching it, I still think it was probably a mistake, but the only thing that will truly determine just how much of a mistake it really was is whether or not the show will have a second season. Because apparently Dexter didn't die at the end of New Blood, so here, according to the latest trailer for Dexter Resurrection, we're preparing for Dexter to be revived at the hospital and gently confronted by Batista before ultimately making a run for it, following Harrison to New York City, where we will wait with bated breath to find out if Harrison decides to ultimately take up his father's mantle in the Big Apple, all while Daddy does his damnedest to track him down in a city of 8 million people. And I don't really know how to feel at this point, because at this point it feels like Dexter's story may never end. But in order to make this show worth the squeeze, there's a few things I think the writers need to address sooner rather than later. First things first, the writers have to properly address Batista's feelings about finding Dexter alive, and by that I mean he has to hunt that ass down, especially after he takes off from the hospital. We also need to figure out if Harrison is a killer for real for real. I mean, we already know he can hurt someone, but we need to know if he's going to go into the family business, and that needs to happen by season's end, because according to a report from Collider, this is a show, meaning it has multiple seasons planned, so I would lean towards Harrison maybe becoming a killer at this point. So just brace yourself for the possibility. Also, Dexter needs to be at full breach, which I'm sure he will be, because that's the thing that makes this show go. And in addition, with what looks to be a rather interesting cast, we need a continuation of the show's typical format in that we need a big bad, which, if the trailer's any indication, it looks like it might be Peter Dinklage's character, which means Dexter has to kill him by season's end. And who knows, maybe him and Harrison tag team him. That could be an interesting way to set the show up for a long run, especially with Batista hot on their trail. Now look, I'm going to support this show ultimately, mostly to cover it here, but also because I'm invested. I've been invested for almost 20 years now. But what worries me about this whole situation is that this show is not going to be the old show. There are certain elements that made the old show pop that will not be present in this show. Also, we're watching this show in a different time, and sometimes these things just don't translate. The other thing that gets my goat is that it literally may be years before we get a chance at the ending that we all know needs to happen for the fans of the series to truly be satisfied after all the years we've spent supporting the show. But hopefully, once Michael C. Hall's character has run out of road for good, the writers will finally give us the ending they know we all want.